10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. It's Saturday, June 11th, 2022. This is Doug. I'm joined today by Dr. Bill. And this week, we are saved by NASA because they're going to investigate the UAP phenomenon. So now we're really going to get answers, right, Bill? Things are going to really happen.
Yeah, I definitely.
I listened to the whole thing. Did you listen to the whole thing?
The
press conference.
Press conference. Yeah, I did.
Press conference.
Yeah, I did.
Which is how they rolled out the plan. I mean, there was no thing to beginning. It was just, here's a press conference. This is what we're doing.
Well, they did have two press announcements, which I got.
Oh, I didn't see it. How long before the press conference did they come out?
I think in the morning.
Same day.
The same day. It came out the same day.
Same
day.
day.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Which is like the same time. So
yeah. They came out. The thing was at 1 p.m. I guess they released two things in the morning. It says NASA to discuss new UFO study today. Actually, they call it unidentified aerial phenomena. I prefer UFO.
UFO.
Yeah.
Call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
Flying saucers.
Well, unidentified flying objects. So NASA will host a media teleconference at 1 p.m. EDT today, Thursday, June 9th. And they go.
What came of that, Bill? What came of that press conference? I listened to it too, but what was your read on it?
Oh, yeah, it was fine. Let's talk about it. So they said there's a couple things in their announcement that actually clarify some stuff in the press conference. So if you'd read these announcements before, and NASA's website, I couldn't find that they had you can search and find these things, but they didn't have like a section on the website that just said press releases, although I'm sure there's got to be something somewhere. And I think I'm going to try and find out how to, if they have a mailing list, an email list, try to get on that email list for NASA press releases. So they announced this. I guess they've had it in the works for a while. They says UAP's observations of events in the sky that cannot be identified as aircraft or natural phenomena from a scientific perspective.
But that's new.
That is new,
right?
Yeah, and it's like I have. I did that short where I was talking about James McDonald's hypothesis on UFOs, and he'd been pushing for years to get NASA, to get anybody to address UFOs from a scientific perspective. It's only taken 50 years, and so they're saying they want it. They're interested in it because from both a national and an air safety issue. It's a national security issue and an air safety issue. And they want to provide which ones are natural, provides a key for identifying and mitigating such. Establishing which events are natural provides a key first to identifying and mitigating such phenomena. Why do we need to mitigate this phenomena? It hasn't hurt any aircraft or damaged planes or anything. Why do we need mitigation for this? It's not like it's
because we're worried that, this is the thing with the congressional thing. They're worried that it's eventually going to run into one of our big planes. I mean, it's creating a problem.
This stuff is
a concern.
This stuff has been happening for 70 years, and there's only like one plane that
indeed. Well, as long as we've been flying, these things have been flying around.
Yeah, so it's like Mantell is the only one where they think there was an incident occurring with a UFO sighting. Is Mantell?
Don't even know. Yeah,
Mantell.
Yeah, with the Mustang. So,
But
I would. Oh, go ahead.
They want to emphasize the last sentence in the first press release is. There is no evidence UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin. They repeat that.
There's no evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, there's no evidence for, there's no evidence against.
I would like to say, did you catch what the budget is for this?
Yeah, did you?
Yes, I did. It's $100,000, which is nothing.
10,000 to 100,000. They don't have a specific budget number. They have a range. Yeah, it's a nothing budget.
I mean, that is nothing. And one of the people that one of the correspondents that called in actually brought that up and said, "Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems kind
yeah.
of that doesn't really seem like you're not." They didn't say, but it seems to me it's like this is. And one of the comments on the I got it on YouTube. Was it's more NASA smoke or more government smoke and mirrors,
Oh, that's one of the.
and
Well, it's this budget is minuscule. I mean, I just to toot my own horn, I was approached to consult on a project, and the budget for my consultation was $19,000.
yeah,
And that was spread out over 6 months or a year, and so
yeah,
I mean they're not talking about having a lot of people because that they're going to have. I mean, at $100,000, you're going to have to pay. Was that 10 people? 10,000 maybe for and they're going to be getting it hourly, and these
yeah.
people's the hourly rates are going to be 100 $150 an hour.
20 people part time with no benefits. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, what it is it's people. You got people that already have jobs and work in some sort of
Yeah,
professional
it's part-time.
capacity. Yeah, and they come in and they go, "Well, you're going to be a consultant on this." So,
Well, even in the press conference, they said, "Well, we didn't have all the experts called in because they had scheduling conflicts. It wasn't even important enough to stay online the whole time for the press conference." I know it's a joke. I really thought. I'm sorry. I know we're excited, but it's kind of a joke. I think. I don't. I'm not taking it serious.
it's a first pass, and so what they're talking about in the second press release that they came out with, what it gets a little clearer. This really has a feeling of a last minute sort of event or presentation.
Yeah.
And they said in the second press release, they said it's going to start in the fall to examine UFOs, to observe events in the sky that cannot be identified as aircraft or known natural phenomena from a scientific perspective. The study will focus on identifying available data, how best to collect future data, and how NASA can use that data to move the scientific understanding of UFOs forward. So there's all they're going to do is they're going to look at old data. And then Guy Spergel mentioned it during the press conference that what they're going to do is they're going to use AI and machine learning to examine. I mean, so they're going to look at old data.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
They're going to look at old data.
Come on.
And the thing is that I don't even know how they're going to approach this, because it's like you have to machine learning and AI. You have to train these programs to identify things. That's how they did it with like facial recognition. You just feed in millions of faces into these programs, and then they learn how to identify individual faces and correlate and track them and whatever. But the problem is with all this data, any anomalous data that was in the NASA photos and films and whatnot, people would, if it looked like a UFO or it was unknown, what would they do in the past 50 years? You're going to, oh, it looks like a UFO. No, they're going to go, oh, it's something wrong with the camera. It's something else. It's this. We can get into that a little later. And so anybody who saw any anomalous data in the media from NASA are either going to log it as something wrong with the equipment, or they're going to not say anything about it because they didn't want their reputation damaged. Another thing that this press release says is the limited number of observation of UFOs currently makes it difficult to draw scientific conclusions about the nature of such events. So there's been very limited number of sightings of UFOs for the past 70 years, other than the thousands that have been documented by different organizations. And some of the stuff is very well documented. So like NICAP in the 60s. Before they
comment is the
Yeah.
fact that NASA is even acknowledging the UFO subject is amazing. I don't
it's
disagree
awesome.
with that.
It's what's changed.
But admitting that they look for extinct races on Mars is also a step forward. I haven't heard that before. Have you heard that?
And if you listen to the I drink my beverage. I found the last Coke in the fridge. If you listen to the press conference, Zaburkin, what's the guy's name?
You're not drinking that stuff your wife makes. It turns into alcohol accidentally, right?
I should be. I don't think there's any in there. We actually had a bottle of the stuff explode in the refrigerator once.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
waste. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it
You
exploded.
Take the paint, it melted the refrigerator.
No, yeah, it's not that stuff. But it exploded in the fridge, and the kid got up and discovered it in the middle of the night and cleaned it up. Didn't say anything. Cleaned it up, and then in the morning, yeah, I was like, what kid does that?
How old was he?
I don't know, 15 or something.
Oh wow, that's good. That's a good kid.
Yeah, I'm like, who does that? What kid does that?
Yeah, no 15-year-old that I know.
Oh my God. I would have just shut the door and gone back to bed. Got what I wanted.
Yeah, I know. I probably wouldn't have cleaned it up.
I might not clean it up now.
Yeah, I would clean it up because it wouldn't have been worth it for me to wake up the next morning and go, "Did you see that?" I could even. I didn't even.
No.
What happened?
What? No, I didn't see that. I was half asleep. I didn't even notice.
We're gonna unleash the indiscretions of married men.
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, cleaned up the glass, cleaned out the fridge, cleaned it out of the fridge.
Wow.
Yeah. Who does that? What's wrong with this kid? So
wow.
Now Thomas Zubukin, Associate Administrator of the agency's Science Mission Directorate, he mentioned looking for extinct life on Mars during the press conference, and I think that's exactly the words that he used, was extinct life on Mars.
Wow.
Which suggests,
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. So I mean, my feeling is that there used to be life on Mars, and that we will find evidence of that. There's quite possibly, based on some of the evidence that's coming out now, current life on Mars. So it's because of the methane that we see in the atmosphere and things like that, the periodic methane.
Microbial at this point, though, right? Or are you thinking there might be life underground or something?
Giant sandworms.
Yeah, those are the best.
Giant sandworms.
Like Dune. It's gonna be like Dune.
Just like Dune. Yeah, it's probably microbial.
Sin Mod Dib.
Yeah. I don't even know. Oh, Mod Dib. Oh yeah, Mod Dib. He's there. Did you see the new Dune movie? It's on.
Yeah.
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 Not bad.
We saw it. We watched it.
Not bad.
I wasn't big. I liked the original. It was weird because the spaceships were like some 18th century colonial castle looking thing. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, that one was. I was really looking forward when the old movie came out, but then the guy that made it, who was the same guy that did that weird TV show, I can't remember what it was. He combined Dune and the second book, which is Dune is like this really thick novel.
Yeah, I've read I've read them all.
Yeah, but the second one is a skinny little thing.
Yeah,
and the guy combined that book with the second book. I was like, the only reason I can figure he did that, he was too lazy to finish reading the first book. And he got through part of it, and he said, screw it, I'm just going to read the second book and write a script. It's like, why combine those two books into a massive movie that you could, that you could make 4 movies out of or more? Anyway, that was weird. But yeah, that old one had some great stuff in it. It had some great stuff in it, but it didn't work. I remember trying to watch it years later, and I couldn't get through it again. Although I paid money to see it in a theater.
Another comment here. How about using witness testimony? This is regarding the NASA UAP Hunt. Witness testimonies as data. We have to broaden our scientific spectrum of instrumentation to understand the phenomenon. It's not replicable like studies in a test lab. Ask the witnesses of the aerial phenomena or the Westall 1966 case. And you have to force the agencies of the intelligence apparatus to sift through their archives and release the withholded information. Americans were involved in the Australian Westall case
Oh,
that involved departments and have to share their information. Is this the school, the one where it landed by a school or something?
I'm not sure. There was that one, and then there was also people were seeing a flying triangle in Western Australia that they were saying that might be a experimental aircraft.
Um,
The Westall, that might be the one where there was also kids seeing something landing near the playground or something.
I don't know what we're going to get out of this. But this is a study to see if we need to do a study almost. I mean,
It's basically, well, they're going to look at the data. They're going to see what the data is out there. I don't know how they want to use AI and machine learning to analyze the data, but how are you going to train these programs to look for anomalies? I guess you can train them to say this is normal, and if you see something that's not normal, then you give a result. The second press release, they also say there's no evidence that UAPs are extraterrestrial. And then Spergel said, given the paucity of observations, our first task is simply to gather the most robust set of data that we can. We will be identifying what data from civilians, government, nonprofit companies exist, what else we should try to collect, and how best to analyze it. It's going to be 9 months to complete the preliminary study.
and $100,000.
At $100,000, that's
months.
they can only put in, I did a calculation, that's 650 hours worth of work based at what these guys are going to pay themselves a minimum $150 an hour.
Damn.
So at $100,000, you got 650 hours, man hours in the project. And that comes out to 16 weeks. So, yeah, that maybe, who knows.
Oh, we'll have to, like everything, like the congressional thing and everything else, we have to wait and get nothing. I can already tell you what's going to happen. Nothing. Okay,
Well,
I
we've
hate to
looked
be
at the data.
skeptical.
We've looked
Yeah,
at,
look at it. We looked at it. Yeah, we didn't really, there's nothing. They're not. We don't have the tech. It just seems, unless NASA's got this technology that they're going to be able to utilize to figure out what's going on with these things. But it's really kind of bizarre. The next comment is, what NASA means is the acronym is never a straight answer.
I read Elon Musk. There was an unauthorized biography by Elon Musk, and there's a line that stuck with me out of this book because Elon Musk is building rockets and wants to go to Mars, and it's real exciting, right?
Yeah.
And one of the lines in this book was NASA, which takes something like space exploration, as exciting as space exploration, and makes it boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how can you make something like that awesome so boring?
So true.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
did you
it's so
see
true.
the new episode of For All Mankind on Apple TV?
No, I didn't know it was out. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
new
to,
episode's out. It's all right.
Oh,
Check it
I'm
out.
gonna have to write.
Check it out. They also say in this that they're open. NASA's principles of openness, transparency, scientific integrity report will be shared with the public. I can remember some of the readings I'm doing is James McDonald and other people asking NASA to look into this stuff, and NASA going, no, no. And then we had a big we've already had a big scientific study on UFOs, the Condon Report, scientific study of flying saucers, and they came up with the conclusion that it was psychological hysteria. And that put flying saucers to bed in 1969. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on now.
Well,
Oh.
now it's not. Well, we just can't figure out what it is because we're not technologically advanced enough. They're just looking at us like we're
We
stupid.
just keep saying these things. We don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. We just keep saying them. They don't exist.
The-
So how come
yeah.
what is NASA suffering from mass psychological hysteria? So is
Yeah, we're
Harvard
not-
and the Defense Department.
Well, NASA's doing this thing. And what about Galileo? You got Galileo.
That's Harvard, yeah. Harvard.
Is that more
That's essentially
or less private?
It's essentially private, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the DOD's looking at it, and that's essentially classified. So this is a positive because we might actually be able to see something and get some information. Although if they come out with a 6-page report in 9 months, that might be a little disappointing.
How much? What's the over under? We're gonna do.
Well, it looks like what they do is there's either going to be a 300-page report that 5 people might read, or there's going to be a 6-page report with no information. So I
And
mean,
half
that's
of it'll
the
be secret. Half of it'll be secret.
yeah, that's the over
We
under.
can- that's 6 to 300. Yeah, it's going to be like the congressional report where they can't. We're all excited about it coming out, and then they go, "Well, there's some of this we can't talk about. It's secret."
Secret.
Something,
Secret.
you know, because why? Because of because it has to do with, technology, our military technology, so we can't let it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, you can't just not talk about the technology and talk about what you saw
Just
or
release it.
experienced. Just talk and just say it. So you don't have to talk about the propulsion system of the F-18. Okay.
And we know what radar is. We know how
yeah.
cameras work, and we know how radar works. Just give us the data and mask the particulars. Just show us the
Yeah.
pictures. Show us the pictures.
Another person says this sounds like a 1980s telephone conference, and it really did.
Yeah, it was weird. Well, I guess they're still afraid of COVID, so that's why everything's got to be remote.
Well, they don't have a big budget, Bill. They can't fly everybody in.
They don't have any budget now. I mean, it's 10. It's the budget's $10,000 to $100,000. What if I guess the guy deciding in the press conference are asking who decided this thing, and Thomas Zurbuchen said that he was the one who decided to do this, and so I guess he's the one who decides the budget. What if he decides $10,000?
Yeah,
$10,000. What is
won't
that?
hear anything.
Oh,
You just won't hear anything. It'll die. Whatever happened to that?
Whatever
I don't
happened?
know.
It was like a lot of stuff. So
We'll
10,000.
forget by Tuesday this thing even came out.
100. So
that's the way it is.
$10,000 is 65 hours worth of work, basically, that you can put into this. And then the press release went on to tell us that this is cool, which I didn't know. They said the James Webb Space Telescope will try to spot biosignatures in atmospheres around other planets, spotting oxygen and carbon dioxide in other atmospheres. Could suggest an exoplanet support of plants and animals like ours does. Now that's very cool, and I didn't know that was part of the I didn't know that was part of the James Webb Telescope's mission. Oh, so yeah. Any other juicy comments from the? Yeah.
I'm trying to. There's so many. There's a lot of. This is a dog and pony show. I mean, there's a lot of them that say that.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know how much of a marketing win could this have been. There were many issues in which the general beliefs of the public have been ahead of the curve or consensus. We'd like to think, though, they may be improved. This person went on and on. I think they're trying to press somebody, but way too much. And there's never a straight. There's lots of NASA's never a straight answer. A lot of people are underwhelmed, as am I. And another one, $100,000 with a bunch of question marks.
Yeah, I was underwhelmed. We'll see. I mean, it's yeah, I don't know. I have like I've said before, I've just started reading this extensive UFO literature and looking into things. And I've come to the conclusion that something is definitely going on, and want to keep looking into the reported literature and the sightings and all this stuff, and maybe something will stand out that will provide some information and a direction of and an arrow to the secret alien base is what I want. I want to find out
underground. The secret alien underground base.
Yeah, the secret alien
Where are
base.
they landing?
Yeah.
Track them until you find out where they land. and where they're going, or if they're going to the mothership.
The mothership.
Where?
Well, I'm reading. I was just reading. I'm finishing reading this book by Lore, who sort of. It's a weird book, but it's talking about sightings. It was supposed to be his life in the UFO thing, but it's just more like a litany of UFO sightings. But in 1978, there was a bunch of really good sightings in Syracuse, New York, I think. Really good, really obvious ones. And it's like you think that by that point that our network, our radar traffic control or tracking systems could follow something like this, follow these unusual. But I don't know how the modern radar works. Apparently, I mean, you see this in movies and it's sort of funky, but if the airplane turns off its transponder, they're like the air traffic controllers can't see the airplane.
Yeah, that was like with the Indonesia flight that
they just turn.
they never found out what happened to it.
They turn off the transponder and the plane's just invisible.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know how the.
Then how do we track enemy aircraft?
Well, it's
know.
I was listening to something. They're saying apparently it's a different radar. I mean, the old radar, there was no this tracking. I don't know how the systems work now. And maybe here's a crazy speculation. Maybe they put together these systems where the radars only see stuff with transponders because they don't want people to freak out because they're seeing things they can't explain.
Could be.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But really, I mean,
know.
then we'll know a hell of a lot more than we are letting on to. Well, I think we've beat this one, the NASA thing, to death. We'll see where it goes. How about, hey, the new Skinwalker came out. I know you're happy.
Yeah, I know. Let me look at...
Watch it.
I did. Let me look at my notes for the... I took a bunch of notes for the NASA... let me just hit a couple points. We talked about 9 months. Washington Post was wondering about if there's going to be reputational harm to scientists that look into this. It's like
shouldn't be anymore.
Yeah,
people have accepted it.
I mean, that's one of the things that's really shocked me. Is like in the last 4 months, all of a sudden it's you're not a nut if you're talking about UFOs. That's like. How does that happen so quickly? That was one of the things that came up. The budget. NASA is going to pick the members of this program. I guess NASA has to ultimately approve who's going to be on this research panel. So I guess we're not going to be picked.
How do you know?
Well, we'll see. Hey, call me.
Well, you're a PhD. You're more likely to go before me, but keep me in the loop.
They want computer people. This guy Spergel is a computational astrophysicist, which means he
How do you spell that?
I can't do that. It's which means he does stuff on computers. I'm gonna write a program to simulate it. That's useful. Yeah, AI. It's AI analysis of image data, lots of image data, which is really cool. And then he said Atlantic magazine asked who mandated the project, and the Zerby did that. Asked why it wasn't in aerodynamics and why is it in space missions, which is an interesting place to put it, because this reporter was saying if this was in, this is aerial phenomena that is a flight safety, why isn't it in aerodynamics? Instead, we're putting it in space missions.
Right.
So that's interesting. And NASA has massive data. Only looking at that basic early. Okay, so this guy said the ABC asked a question, and they said Evans, who's the other guy that was on this project. He said basically this project is to make a proposal to implement a research project.
Project to see if we need to do a project.
Yeah. It's just we're just writing a proposal. I've written a few of those.
$100,000 for that?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. How to collect data, how to analyze data. New York Times is sort of interesting. He says NASA is now willing to consider extraterrestrials here and now is what this guy says. So the New York Times guy goes, you're willing to consider extraterrestrials here and now. He goes, how about extraterrestrials in the universe? And then the guy says, oh, we're looking for techno signatures.
Yeah. Well, like you and I said, maybe they're not even piloted. They
Yeah.
could be drones.
Alpha Beta, Axios. Oh, and that's where the guy said UAPs mentioned the same breath as life on Mars. Okay. So the Zerby guy, he's, I don't know if that was a Freudian slip or his belief, but he was talking about, extinct life on Mars. He says, our search for extinct life on Mars. So I thought that was good. But maybe that's if you think about it, that might be a careful answer. Because you can't say there's life on Mars, and we're looking for extinct life on Mars.
Well, Mars is probably going to be what the Earth's going to look like in eons anyway. It's just
it's supposed to. The Earth is Mars. The Earth is going to look like Mars in 10 years, is what I've been told.
Oh, really? Not eons, huh?
No, I mean this is unless we get global warming under control right now. This is we're going to look like Mars. That's what I've been told.
We're not in 10 years.
Or not? Don't tell me that.
We're
not.
Don't
tell me that. It's going to happen.
You're going to be cremated anyway, aren't you? Or are you going to be buried? You going to be cremated?
Why do I care? I won't know. I don't care.
You don't think you're going to be here in 10 years?
The whole planet's going to look like Mars in 10 years. We're running out of everything. I mean, it's just like, look at it now. We're running out of, look at gas. The gas shortage has caused the price to double in a year. And now food, there's going to be massive food shortages coming up. We're all doomed.
Did you realize that Chevron's profits soared over the last few months?
How could that be? How could that be? That's insane.
Everyone better invest in Chevron. They're the only one.
Oh, I've looked. Chevron's not a great stock.
It might be now. In the short term, it might be.
I'm not going to do it. No. I've thought about that. I've looked into that, and Chevron is surprisingly a mediocre stock, unless they really ramp up their dividends. If they start paying 10 to 15% dividend on the stock price, yeah, but they're never going to do that. So, price-wise, they don't appreciate decently either. I mean, the price has been like a lot of these companies. And that's it for the financial report for today.
Because I have a different, my strategy is different. I just buy and sell it real quick and make a little money short term.
Yes.
And move on to the next one.
Yes.
All right, have we beat NASA to death yet, or you got any more comments?
God, no. I'm done. I agree with a lot of the people.
Sure.
The comments. It's actually I'm really, really like the comments and the people looking at it, just saying, it's a dog and pony show. So in 9 months, they will present a proposal.
To see if they want to propose something.
The proposal. In 9 months, they will have a proposal to implement a research program.
If they think it's worthy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the most damning statement from this whole press thing. A proposal to implement a research program is what they're doing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, why not do the proposal? It's like a PR stunt. This is just a PR stunt. So NASA is jumping on the UFO bandwagon for some reason. Why are they doing that? That's what I want to know.
NASA is really good at tracking things that we launch. So maybe they're going to redirect their resources to be able to change their tracking to, if you or I were doing the tracking, when we didn't have anything in the air, we'd probably be screwing around trying to look for stuff.
Well, but then, I'm saying it's like historically, if they saw any anomalies, people are going to go, I don't know what it is. Or you're not going to say anything, or you're going to go, it's an equipment glitch.
Yeah, they're not going to, because they want to be discredited.
Yeah.
And drummed out of NASA.
It's like this, I don't know if we may not talk about it, but the Soviet saucer article.
Yep.
I mean, this guy is a NASA guy, and he said all the Soviet saucer sightings were secret Soviet launches and all this other stuff. And then he has a book, because there's a lot of people who are saying NASA has seen weird things through the year. And this guy, James Oberg, wrote a book where he's analyzed all these anomalies that have been reported by NASA and found explanations for them. I've looked at the book. I've decided I didn't want to buy it because it's just like, it's, I'll come back to that if it comes up to it. But it's just like, you look at this book and it's just like, he goes, okay, so they see this and it's this, and they see this and it's this, and they see this and it's this. And then he did the same thing with the Soviet UFO sightings. He's going, yeah, they're seeing flying saucers, but it's their secret rocket launches.
Yeah, that's what all that was about.
Yeah, and then so that is been the game plan for NASA for the last 50 years. Is any anomaly, they're going to come up with an explanation, and they're going to say, oh, it's ice coming off the capsule, it's reflection of the sun, it's this, it's that. We found an explanation. Shut up, go away. We're going to and nobody's going to accept that. No one is going to accept anomalous data, because the basic premise is you start from the idea that it's something explainable. And if you can't find an explanation for it, you keep looking or you make shit up, which is what Project Blue Book used to do.
Yeah.
It's like with a lot of their stuff, they would say, or they would, McDonald was reporting on that. They would have different sightings, and then they would report something about it. It was this. It was a balloon. There was one thing I was reading by McDonald. He goes, yeah, Blue Book reported as a balloon. He went in and he looked. He says there was no balloons in the area. There was no balloon launches within, 200 miles or whatever of this thing that people saw. So, anyway, yeah. I think we'll see. 9 months, they will have a proposal for a research project. I can't remember those words. God. They will have a... I can't find it now. Oh my God. I have to...
Let it die. Let's move on.
Oh, they will have a proposal to implement a research program. I gotta highlight that. God. So, Skinwalker.
So what'd you think about this episode? Digging deeper. I had it was called the cow episode. The dying cow episode.
Yeah, the dying cow episode. It's pretty bad as far as they go. Last week was what did they do last week? Or 2 weeks ago. They had a hiatus for the holiday.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago was the guys with the telescopes and the rockets.
Yeah.
That one actually wasn't bad, although I had a lot of criticism. This one was pretty weak. The first thing they had was the sick cow. That cow was messed up. I don't know what was wrong with that cow.
Well, then they had the guy. I guess those cows are on their on the ranch they don't own them. They're owned by somebody else. And they use them to keep the weeds down or something.
Well, and it's in that area. If you look at the satellite map, in that area, this is the best grazing land in the former Indian Indian reservation. This is the best grazing land in the area. So they, basically I think the rancher is paying them to allow his cows to be, grazed on their property. So
rancher's paying him? Oh, because he needs to graze them.
Okay. There's some sort of payment plan in there. But the thing that bothered me, that cow was messed up. And the thing that bothered me is, how about calling a vet?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. They were just letting it stagger all around. And so it was kind of hurtful to watch.
Yeah. We're gonna bring it back. Bring it back to my ranch. And then what are you going to do? Shoot it?
Well, and then... Can we autopsy it, maybe?
It was alive. Yeah. No, it's...
Can we find out what was after it's dead? Can they find out what's wrong with it?
Well, if you do an autopsy while something's living, it's called a vivisection. So...
Yeah. Well, I figured they would let it kill it first because it was in
Kill it
bad
first.
shape. Well, it died of a gunshot wound. Yeah, well, we know
Yeah.
that. What else is wrong with
Poor
it?
cow.
Yeah.
That guy. She
It was hurtful to watch.
she
Are
was
we
she was
just going to
sick.
keep?
Let's chase her
Deb and I were
around.
watching this. How long are we going to watch this cow stagger around and do nothing?
Put it on a truck or get a vet out
Yeah.
there to look at it. Well, they're taking it back to their
Yeah.
ranch to have a vet look at it. We may never hear what was really wrong with the cow. And then they said it's exact same location as that other cow under a UAP, which to me looked like it was probably a bird smear in their not a UAP but a bird flying
Yeah.
across. I don't know,
Yeah.
because they're shooting at 24. Their cameras are 20. They were saying in this episode their cameras are 24 frames. So
Yeah.
which is the standard for TV. So yeah, I don't believe that. And then they had Colonel John Alexander, who was an original investigator with Bigelow out at the ranch, and
Yep.
he had a look on his face like he was constantly, sort of huffing his own farts and enjoying it. I really think that the people that I don't know. I like to believe that Bigelow was upright and honest in his investigations. I have a feeling that he got scammed big time. But this guy.
Do you think Colonel John Alexander would make up the story of that distortion field that's floating through the olive trees?
I don't know if it means anything. They were saying it was on. I don't know. I don't know what it means. I mean, how do you? I mean, how do you know? It's a single piece of footage from a single camera. If you have it from multiple cameras, from multiple angles, or at least two people filming it, I'd say, yeah, it's something interesting going on. But if it's an anomaly with the camera, it's something weird going on with it. It was night vision. So, I don't know. It could have been a drop of liquid on the lens of the night vision camera or goggles, whatever they're using. And when you move it around, you're going to get a nice distortion field. And it's just like, come on. It's, like I said, I feel that, I don't think it was Bigelow, but I feel like this is just a big giant scam out there for the years they were out there doing their supposed research.
You don't think John Alexander is a valid, he's a colonel in the army.
Well,
I
he was
mean,
doing.
you read his resume?
He's got a good reputation, but it's like I don't know. I don't know. I don't say he was involved in it, but it's just like I feel like the ranch was a money pit for Bigelow, and it's like, the guy's paying the bills. You come up with the data, right?
Yeah.
You wanna keep collect. They were out there for 20 years. Bigelow was paying the bills out there for 20 years or something crazy. And it's like, you're going to keep, it's like what we're seeing with the show. They keep coming up with interesting tidbits because the money tree.
Money coming in.
The money tree, right? I mean, this is all up and down the line. In this case is a little different because it's got a TV show that's going to generate revenue. But with Bigelow, he was the money guy. And they kept coming up with tidbits, kept feeding him money. It's like the story where they go, well, when we put the cameras out, they seemed to know where the cameras were, and then things would happen where the cameras weren't. You mean like a person that was sneaking on your property to mess with you because they hate you? Who has eyes in their head and they can see your friggin' camera, and they go, okay, we're going to stay away from the camera? Like, give me a break.
He said the cow mutilation while they were there. I don't know if it was during the day or the night.
Yeah, it was during
the
day. It was during a day.
And all of a sudden the cow was dead, and the next thing you know, it was missing all of its meat.
Well, if you're gonna be messing with people, I mean, I saw a documentary or something about that, and a lot of the stuff that they were talking about, if you're gonna be messing with people, you're gonna be gaslighting someone, especially if you're a hateful neighbor that knows that once you cross your property line legally, they can't do anything to you. I mean, you have safe, 100 yards this way, you get onto your land. They can't touch you for anything if they catch you. So even if they see you, you just run like hell and hop the fence, and you're like, it's like hitting hitting a home run. Can't touch me now. Fuck you.
Are you now? Are you saying it's the Indians again? Are you
I
back to?
think
You
it's
think it's the Indians?
yeah. I think there's a lot of hate, and I know that the there's a lot of hate and a lot of crazy in that area because the reservation was chopped up in the early part of the last century by the Utah government because they would say the Indians, you're not using the land, you got to give it to us, you got to take it away, and that, which is insane for Skinwalker Ranch, because Skinwalker Ranch is some of the best ranch land in that area. And if you go look on the ridge above, not to the ridge that they always show on the show, but the reverse ridge on the backside, it's all covered with oil wells. With those things that pump.
Yeah.
And it's just like there was really strong motivation to basically steal from the Indians, and there's not a lot of love in that county. And like I said before, the sheriff has a really bad reputation for going on tribal land and arresting people when he's not allowed to. And the problem stems from the fact that the county is such a patchwork of tribal land because of the state's land grab of reservation land in the early part of the last century. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess out there. So, I mean, if we were Native Americans and we'd grown up out there, we'd be going onto that place and fucking up.
Well, we would.
Fucking with them. I mean, night and day, we'd be making our life plan. Oh my God, we would. We'd be out there with, I bet you I can sprint into their field, kill that calf, get most of the meat off it, and get out of there before the guy comes back. All right, you time me. We would have done crap like that. Absolutely. There's a lot of hate in that area.
So when they launched the model rocket.
Oh, the bulldozer died. Oh, equipment. I keep having equipment.
Oh yeah,
failure.
the bulldozer died.
This was freaky. This was really freaky. I was lying in bed watching that show with my earbuds in on my laptop, and I'm taking notes for the show on my iPad. And when the bulldozer died, my Apple Pencil died at exactly the same time.
Did it really?
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, what's going on? That's just weird. And I couldn't get it to work again. I mean, I struggled with this thing to get it to work. The tip was loose. I just had to tighten it up a little bit, and it started working again. I was like,
maybe they should have tightened the terminals on the battery. Maybe, I just checked it. Yeah, well, maybe you didn't tighten them properly.
We just put 2 new batteries in it. Who put 2 new batteries? Why do you say shit like that? I mean, we just put 10 new batteries in it. And then they still don't run the thing. They just like abandon it in the field. And then they show video of the guy just like wiggling levers on the thing. Try the key, dude. Get a voltmeter. Throw it on the batteries. Do some basic mechanics. And then they saw, and then when they're out there, they saw the 1.6 gigahertz signal.
Yeah, and that. Well,
I
sent you there's a lot of things that transmit on 1.6 gigahertz cell phones, and there's all kinds of things. I sent you a.
I didn't see it.
I sent you an email. It's.
I haven't looked.
Here, I'll open it up. Things that could be 1.6 gigahertz. There's cell phones. There's just all kinds of different. Let's see if I can pull this up. It says, microwave ovens, TV broadcasts, mobile phones, wireless LAN, Bluetooth, GPS, two-way radios, which it could be anything.
It's the microwave oven in the camp kitchen.
Yeah.
Every time they turn it on, they have a crisis in the place. What's going on?
What's going on? Every time I heat up my soup, everything.
A guy,
1.6 gigahertz.
A guy walks into the control center eating a burrito. A microwave burrito. Hey, what's going on? Oh, you got that signal again. Oh, God. TT.
We could do a spoof of this. It would be kind of good.
It's already a spoof. We don't need to do that. TT is now willing to say there's a wormhole or portal on the ranch. And then he walked it back. 6 get recoil signal passed. Answer, you're not previous research. You're not in control. You're not in what we learned from our 20 years at the ranch. This is Colonel Alexander. He says, you're not Alexander. You're not in control. It's in control.
It is in control.
Or
and then they dun dun dun
dun dun dun. Then they do the
oh
God. And then they go over to the cistern. They go, let's go over to where the distortion in the tree was. Because the cistern's open. The cistern was open. Did you open that? I didn't open that. Why is this open? What?
Who would this, why is it open?
This 20-pound thing on the thing got moved. Who would do this?
Things living in there. Maybe we should send a camera down.
Last time.
Is this where they poured the dye? Did they pour the dye in?
I don't know if they did it in there. They did it some other places, and
the green dye.
It didn't go anywhere. Nothing came out of that.
It came out of the stream.
Did it?
Just like water does. Yeah, it
Okay.
came out in a stream somewhere on the ranch.
God.
Lower. And what about the radiation? When they got all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
they got
the dozer. They went out there.
5,000.
They got a 3,400 micron, and
yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, that would kill you, right? I mean, you know about radiation.
I don't know
that amount of radiation.
I don't know what the levels are. It was just a spike, and then our instrument died. You mean the spike happened, and then your instrument stopped working, like it just fried itself? That might be, it just like spiked, and then it stopped working. I mean, they constantly have these, these instrument problems, but they never follow up on analyzing specifically what's going on, or it's like, our cameras stopped working while we're doing this thing. All our cameras stopped working for some reason. I mean, have you ever had a camera on your property stop working for no reason?
Yeah, it's usually the battery's dead.
Yeah, the battery is dead.
Okay. I have to charge it because it's not on solar.
It's a battery died. Yeah. I mean, it's like stuff like that.
Well, the radiation of the 3,500 CPM counts per minute.
Yeah, well, that's 300 times normal levels is what they said.
But it spiked. And let's get out of here. And then they drove. Okay, well, crack me up.
That didn't make sense because the radiation wasn't happening where the bulldozer was. It was somewhere else on the ranch. It's like, where are you running to?
Well, why are you running? Why don't you call? If it's that critical that you get out of the area, why don't you pick up a radio? Don't they have cell phones and radios? Well, you got to drive out to where the problem is.
The physicist Taylor, he was out there with a radiation meter. He's not seeing anything out there.
Yeah, he saw it in his hand, and he's looking at it, going, "What?
I'm not seeing anything."
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, that was just theater. 3 hours. Their instrument died, and then after 3 hours started working again, I guess. With the I use a note-taking app, and so it translates my notes. And that one guy goes, when he saw that spike, he goes, "I'm seeing a couple flavors of strangeness here." And the translation from my handwriting was "couple flowers of starriness."
That's as good.
Yeah, that's better, I think. I like
that. You should
that.
have used that.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple flowers of starriness. I actually got to highlight that.
Yeah, I don't know where this, and again, we're watching it, so we're feeding into the ratings.
I love the show, but it's just like, it's so, I mean, it's theater. I mean, it's just like, and this is not going to help the scientific investigation of UFOs. This is not helping. This is hurting. It's like that thing that I'm learning to read on the internet. Read out loud for stuff, where I was reading about James McDonald's hypothesis, and he's talking about the psychic connection people with the UFO stuff. That's not helping anybody. That's taken away from an actual scientific analysis of what this is and what's going on. It's just hurting the whole process. And so this show is actually working on it. I have a feeling that they're sort of serious about what they're doing, but it's just like they're not. It is not a scientific analysis at any level. It's just not working. I mean, they'd never follow up on anything. And
Well,
next
it's
week,
just like any other show, like Dances with the Stars. It's all about ratings, and it's about ratings, and it's about money,
yeah. So
and
they're definitely not doing this from a scientific perspective, as the NASA press release said. So, and then they go, well, next, what we got to do is we need to shoot a rocket into the sky. And it's like, how is that good for
what they're
anything?
doing with the rock. Well, they're trying to like when they're digging, they're trying and like
To initiate something. Yeah.
They're trying to initiate a response, which I get because that's what John Alexander was stating when they did it. They were digging in that same spot. They go, we weren't really trying to dig for anything and look for anything in the ground. Like when this show started, they were digging, trying to find something.
Yeah.
This is all we were doing is trying to initiate some sort of reaction to see these things. And that's fine if it works, but you've seen an orb or they're not digging during the night, and they seem to they should dig at night and then put on their night vision. If you know what I mean, it would make more sense.
Yeah, there's
I don't know.
They're not. This is not serious. They're not serious
No.
about this. They want. It's the theater. It's more theater. And then, what'd you think of the glowing fuzzball at the end?
Yeah, the moth or whatever it was.
I don't think it was a moth, but what pissed me off is Taylor goes, look, it went behind that tree, but every time it got close to the tree, they would cut away. So it's like, look, it went behind that tree. So it's like drifting along, and then as it gets
go behind the tree,
to the tree, they would cut away. They did that 3 times. He goes, look, and I'm not saying that it looked like that, and they just recorded him saying that. But when they went back and looked at it, it went in front of the tree, and it's just like some sort of fuzzball, just moving along.
Something floating in the air.
Yeah, it's just something.
He's a hair. Some hairball from a cat.
Yeah, hairball. It looked like a cotton ball or a dandelion floating along.
Yeah, some explainable thing.
Yeah, and he goes, look, it goes behind the tree. It does not go behind the tree. You can see that they kept cutting right as it would get to the tree. They kept cutting away, and they did that 3 times, and that was just wrong. You don't say it's going behind the tree and then don't show it.
Behind the tree.
Yeah. And then they're going to image process. Next week, apparently they're going to see a bunch of UAPs, UFOs, according to the preview. That should be interesting. So, I don't know, maybe this is the finale, and they're going to have a big exciting sighting at the end to prove once and for all that UFOs are real.
Yeah. And they're over Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
We need to know why.
Yes.
Why are they there? What's the magic of Skinwalker Ranch?
That show is killing me. Absolutely killing me. So, hey, do we want to do? We're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about that UAP report that just came out for the ships. They're saying it's a Chinese spy ship releasing.
Is that what? Yeah, I didn't read it.
Like.
Did it?
I just glanced at it, but it's a long article, so I mean it's a long read. It's by the Drive, and they're looking at UAP. They're saying a lot of these sightings coincide with this freighter. So it's a long read. So we'll read that and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll come back to Omni, and then we just keep reading in Scully, and let's see if we can find something to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of, he's doing a lot of, I think, prelude.
Yeah, we're trudging through as I read this. I'm like, is there, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need to just
do that.
We need to just trudge through that, and at some point,
let me know which chapter we want to do.
Yeah. Well, we might not talk about it. Just keep reading in it.
All right.
Because once he starts getting into some meat, he's just talking about, it's like, it's good. I recommend this book highly for people interested in UFO stuff. And it's Scully Behind the Flying Saucers. So, I mean, it's worth reading. We're not seeing any meat at this point.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We need to
That's why we're kind of drifting away.
Yeah. Because eventually we're going to move into the Aztec book. Massive Aztec book.
Them
Aztec
460 pages or whatever it is.
Aztec sightings, and we'll see where that takes us. And Omni. I'll send you the next issue of Omni. You can start thinking about that.
Good. Sounds good.
Omni had, I don't know, they're saying that Penthouse had a circulation in 1995 of 1.1 million. I don't know what, and maybe the Omni, I don't know. Longevities. Oh, Omni had a first 6 months audit bureau circulation. Omni had a circulation of 700,000.
It seems pretty good. I don't know
seems really good.
what it takes to be viable, what their
I don't
advertising
know.
base
It's like-
was, or
Look
you're not paid on this $2.40 face subscription value.
Yeah, I know, but it was they had really good ads in it. We'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
I mean, 700,000. I want to see what their revenue was just on sales. They're bringing in $2.5 million a month just on magazine sales. That doesn't count. I mean, subscriptions would be less, but and it's got good ads.
Did they get killed right after the UFO episode, or after the UFO article?
6 months. 6 months they were gone.
Is there a connection?
Yes, it's all part of the conspiracy. These days, I think everything's a conspiracy, and it's all true.
It's
Oh, and-
interesting coincidence. I don't know.
And we didn't get to. We were going to talk about the X-Files and those.
Yeah, we'll leave that on the board for next week.
We'll do that next week. Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's
Cool.
I think that's it for today. We've beat up
Cool.
Skinwalker and NASA.
And NASA.
So, all right.
We're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net, Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. See us on YouTube. Comment and like. See us, punch in Alien Probe Podcast, Doug Anthony, and it'll bring us to the top. Thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony, and of course, Dr. Bill. Thanks for joining in.
Okay. Watch the skies. Watch the skies.
Watch the skies.